Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guest from the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, Pitt insider Jerry DiPaola. Jerry, hard to believe, Pitt kicks it off this week, football practice, headed into a season with a lot of questions following a 3-9 disastrous season last year. How are things going to look for this year, and how hot is the seat for Narduzzi?
Well, I've gotten that question a lot about Narduzzi's hot seat. I don't think it's a hot seat. He's signed through 2030, and if my math is right, that's what, 7 seasons, 6 seasons maybe, 6 or 7 seasons to go. I don't think they want to pay him off. Now, if it's another 3-9 season, things change. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I do believe, there's going to be some growing pains, at least initially. The schedule is difficult to start the season. They have to go to Cincinnati. They have West Virginia at home. Both teams they couldn't beat last year. And everything's changed at Pitt this year. The whole offensive staff has changed. Cade Bell brings in a whole new offensive system. Speed, 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 almost like what Todd Graham did back in the day in 2011. It's going to be a lot of change at Pitt. Do they have the playmakers to make it work? Todd Graham did not have the playmakers. He tried to fit a round peg into a square hole. Cade Bell's smarter than that. I think he's going to be successful. It may take him a while, though. He brought in some guys from Western Carolina who ran his offense well. Desmond Reed, the running back, 5'9" guy, good in space. Raphael Williams, C.J. Lee. These guys all did well, but they all did well at the FCS level. Let's see what happens in the ACC.
Jerry, everything, being an old lineman and that, everything starts up front. Last year, Pitt in the trenches didn't match up. 11 lineup changes on the offensive line. The defensive line wasn't strong. To me, it doesn't matter what Cade Bell tries to do. If they don't get this offensive line fixed, I don't see much success coming there.
Well, there's some experience there. The guys who haven't really they're all ACC players. I think Branson Taylor might have been honorable mention ACC last year, but Branson Taylor is with the leader of the group at left tackle. Ryan Baer is the guy they got from Ohio a few years ago, who played a lot last year. Terrence Moore at center played a lot last year. B.J. Williams was a starter at right guard. And they get back Ryan Jacoby this year. Ryan Jacoby was a transfer 3 years ago from Ohio State, who was going to be the starter last season, got hurt in training camp, missed the entire season. If they keep the offensive line healthy, I think they should be serviceable. I think to be able to keep Nate Yarnell, the quarterback, upright long enough to make those decisions and make those plays. And it'll be interesting to watch the offense this year, because they're trying to snap the ball in some instances between 12 and 15 seconds. Well, that is a recipe maybe for some mistakes. Could go too fast. But I think, like I said, I think Cade is smart enough to dial things back if he thinks that the team isn't ready for it, especially early.
Well, the other factor with this offense, what I've seen with similar offenses, you need to have good weather too, because in days like this, a heavy downpour of rain, you have some problems hurrying up, handling the ball, so on and so forth. That'll be a big factor too.
Yeah, I think if there's a rainstorm like there is today, I don't think he's going to have to force these guys to do things that the turf isn't going to let them do. Like I said, I think that there's you take small steps, and they'll take small steps as they get early in the training camp. Then they installed a lot in spring. They talked about installing a lot in the spring. They got to fine tune it, and they got to be ready to play a tougher schedule. Once the ACC starts, they got Clemson later in the season. They got to play North Carolina. They got to go to SMU, and I think SMU is going to be the sleeping giant in the conference this year, because they won the AAC last year, and they got the quarterback back.
Now, speaking of quarterbacks, since Pickett left, Pitt's tried 5 different quarterbacks with little or no success. So, and Nate Yarnell is going to step in. He's only had 3 starts. How's he going to fit in with this offense?
Well, from what I understand, and the way they talked about it in the spring and then later on, he's fitting in very well in and out of the huddle. He's become the leader, a little bit more vocal. He's also a guy with a good head on his shoulders. He's a classic pianist. That's how he prepares for games, by sitting down and playing classical music on the piano. Very talented kid, smart kid, and he can make all the throws. We'll see what happens, because he doesn't have the experience and he's played well in his three games. He beat Boston College. He beat Western Michigan. He lost to Duke in the last game of the season last year. But I really think that he's going to be a success. But it may take him a while too.
Well, when you look at the schedule, it's opener with Kent State, then go to Cincinnati. They struggled last year, and then it's the home game with West Virginia. To me, that is a big game. Last year, that 17-6 loss at West Virginia, and then things went downhill after that for the Panthers. All kinds of problems at quarterback.
That was embarrassing. That West Virginia game down there in Morgantown. You lose your rival, and you barely show up. Phil Jakovic did not play well at all in that game, and then he ended up starting the next two games after that, which I thought was kind of strange. But I give Narduzzi credit for revamping everything. He fired all of his offensive coaches, except for Taekwon Underwood, who ended up going to the New England Patriots, his wide receivers coach. So it's a whole new staff. And, like I said, it's going to take a while. I don't think you can expect a whole new staff to come in with a whole new offensive system after losing 5 defensive starters, to the transfer portal, and all of a sudden you're going to be 8-4, or 9-3. I think this team is headed toward maybe a little bit better than 500 record. Maybe they'll surprise me and win 8 games, but that's why they play the games, Ed. We'll see what happens once they kick it off in August the 31st.
Gary, under Narduzzi's 9 years, the average season for Pitt is like 7.2 wins, 5.5 losses. So you're right there. If Narduzzi were to retire today, it was interesting last week. I don't know if it was in the Trib or the PG. They started to talk about his legacy. What would his legacy be if he retired today with a 62-50 record, 1 ACC title?
Well, if he retired before the season, his legacy wouldn't be very good, because here we are the day before training camp. That would be worse than what Todd Graham did. But his legacy after 9 seasons, I think, is one of getting this team back on the right trajectory. They only won 1 ACC championship. They played in 2 title games. But I think the one thing Narduzzi has done is he has brought stability to the program. He's extremely loyal to Pitt. Of course, they're paying him very, very well, and they're paying him very, very well almost into the next decade. But he is a loyal guy. I think family is important to him. His own family, his football family, and he really sweats for these kids. And I think he's done a good job putting Pitt back on the map. Maybe they're not going to win an ACC championship, but maybe once every 5 years, maybe, or no, probably not more than that. But at least, Pitt fans have something to look forward to, because they're going to be in every game. They're not going to get blown out of a lot of games. They're recruiting well. They're bringing in some good talent from Pennsylvania and from elsewhere. The recruiting class is right now. The 2025 recruiting class is like middle of the road. But I think that when he walks into the living room, people know who he is. And I don't think that was always the case, before he got here.
Hey, Jerry, before we go, let's look at the ACC. There's so much going on, these ongoing lawsuits between the ACC, Florida State, and Clemson. To me, I think it's just a matter of time. Florida State and Clemson are going to bolt. Jim Phillips trying to hold everything together. How does that bode for Pitt if those 2 teams leave? And I still can't figure out why the ACC doesn't want West Virginia in there. They sell out every football game. They sell out all their basketball games. It just doesn't make sense to me why they're not in there, and they take in Cal and Stanford and the logistics of traveling to those places plus SMU.
Well, the geography makes sense for West Virginia, but does West Virginia want to go to the ACC? I don't think so. They get more TV money in the Big 12. Yeah, they have some travel challenges they have to deal with in West Virginia, but I think they're happy in the Big 12. And if the ACC rang the West Virginia phone this morning and said, "Hey, do you want to come join us after we lose these two schools?" I don't think they would jump at it. I really don't. And maybe 10 years ago they would have, for sure, but not now. I think West Virginia is entrenched in the Big 12. Big 12 is making a lot of money. They also had their own expansion. It would have been nice, for West Virginia to play every year. They're going to play almost every year now anyway. Finally, smarter heads prevailed in that situation. You're not going to see Pitt Penn State anymore. But I don't think West Virginia wants to go to the ACC right now. And maybe they would take them if they would come, especially after they lose West Florida State and Clemson. But that's a really clumsy situation because there's lawsuits going back and forth. You got the grant of rights deal good through 2036. Breaking that's not going to be cheap for those two schools.
Hey, Jerry, always great talking to you. Look forward to seeing you at the Pitt opener with Kent State. Good luck. Have another great season.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ed. Good talking to you.
You too. I'll be right back with Ellen George.
Zoom from Armstrong presents Home Pass Heroes. Jane loves shopping online,
It's my favorite.
but she had concerns about internet security. Fear not. The Home Pass app, free with Zoom's enhanced Wi-Fi, features advanced security that blocks malware, phishing scams, and other cyber attacks across all the connected devices in her home. Be the hero of your network with Zoom's enhanced Wi-Fi and the free Home Pass app, available on the App Store and Google Play.
I'm back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left, the Tiger Albert Campman. Spotlight Western Pennsylvania athletes in the Olympics. Let's start with Aiden Owens DeLerme, North Allegheny grad who went on to USC and then Michigan and Arkansas. He was born here, but he will represent Puerto Rico, where his mother was born. That decathlon, guys, 5 events one day, 5 events the next day. I don't know, where do you put, when you rate great athletes, where do you put the decathletes?
Well, one thing, you cannot do it without being a great athlete. You know, there's some
great
things
point.
They just have to be able to do
Yes.
everything. Everything's a part of that.
And it's not bad either. Like you watch, they'll high jump 6'9". It's not like they're high jumping 6'2".
And this kid's a stud.
And George's point is well taken.
Yeah.
That the decathlon does not mean you're pretty good at 10 events.
No.
You have to be in the Olympics. You got to be very, very good at all of them.
You know what his world rank is? Number 3.
Yeah.
What's that?
I
tell
watched
you?
him run
I saw him too. He's special.
high school.
Josh Matheny, Upper St. Clair's swimming team USA. Bridget Guy Williams, of Hempfield, the pole vault team USA. She's 28 years old, and she's just getting better with age. And Spencer Lee, Franklin Regional, with Penn State All-American wrestler. Michael Grady out of Central Catholic Team USA, rowing. If you ever done any rowing, you know what a strenuous event that is.
Either one of you guys ever did it?
No,
I haven't
I've used a
either.
rowing machine at times.
But
Yeah.
still,
that
that's
was
quite
hard.
similar. I mean, that's what you
It's
say.
pretty difficult. And Knox Jordan, guys who finished 4th in the shot Olympic trials, he can only go and compete if one of the top 3 get injured.
Wow.
That you're number 4 in the world and you can't go.
Yeah, he's closest to us because he's been on our show many times.
Yes.
I root for him so hard to make because his goals. He's worked so hard. Let's put it that way.
Yes, he has. Let's go to our stories of the week. Major League Baseball, the Pirates hanging on to 54 and 52 after winning 4 straight series. They finally lost the series to Arizona. Big bounce back win over Houston with a 3-run homer by your favorite player, Taylor.
Michael
He launched one. But they've overcome some injuries. Reynolds is back. Gonzalez is going to be out for a while. And Roddy Tellez, he was injured for a while. He's back. But the big improvement to me, I know he struck out. He's on pace for almost 200 this year. O'Neal Cruz, man, he's upped his game. Even though he's come up with some clutch hits. You didn't think he was very good back in May. What do you think of him now?
I still don't think he's as good as they say he is. But as George said, his potential is out of sight.
You got to give the devil his due.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he still strikes out 3
How
times.
about if he
a
would
game.
just get in front of a ball instead of trying to take it on the side?
Because he
He
relies
missed
on
2
that arm.
last night,
He
Albert.
relies on that arm. He over relies because he has a great
But he
arm.
can't. He can get the second from home
He can-
plate.
and boy,
pretty fast.
he's hit some
But I do
bombs.
worry. I just told George yesterday, I worry about a losing streak coming because their schedule's going to be mighty. And Gonzalez is an important part of their team.
No.
I mean, they
Oh.
miss
Oh,
him.
very much. He's
Yeah.
one of the. He's
Then
one
it
of their,
went from
one of the
weeks
better
to
He's already a
longer.
weak hit in the team to begin with.
Yeah.
And now you take him out of the lineup, yes.
Now Skeens' first loss was 2-1 loss to the Cardinals. He did no decision in the win 6-3 over Houston, so he stays at 6-1. He's just terrific every time out. I was joking with George before we got on. Pirates ought to say, "Hey, we'll sign you right now, 10 years, $30 million a year."
They're so cheap they wouldn't do it.
He
But
wouldn't do
any deal they should get him, they should get him.
Why wait?
I truly believe that. Remember, injuries always happen.
Yeah,
But Lemieux, Crosby, and all of a sudden Skeen shows up. These are generational players.
Yes.
You don't see this.
And now the Pirates are 2 games back in the wild card. Here's my thinking. Tell me what you think. If they drop back that losing streak 5 or 6 games, I think Skeens gets shut down.
I do too. So do I.
All right.
No,
No.
thanks.
Right?
Yeah, that would make
He's on a 6-day
I
rotation
see
right
it
now.
happen. I
Yeah,
do see it.
Albert said it yesterday, and I'm counting his strikeouts. He has over 8 strikeouts per game, and he doesn't go to the 9th.
Yeah, he's 4th or 5th all time
Yeah,
in strikeouts.
and that's guys like Herb Score. You're
Herb
not talking
Score. I
like
remember Herb Score.
yeah.
Yes. Everyone in the division made a major trade. A couple sluggers from Tampa Bay went to the Cubs, went to Seattle. St. Louis picked up Tommy Pham, who he
He
doesn't
stinks.
like.
No, he's not good.
But the Pirates picked up Jose Rojas, who hit
Yeah,
125
that was nothing.
in 2022. He'll bolster the lower lineup.
Play for the curve.
Here's my thinking, though. Why not? There has to be some. Even if you found someone who had 14 homers, 50 RBIs, was hitting 240. Why not try and grab someone like that for the bottom of your lineup?
Well, I'll say
Why
it
not?
again, because I don't want to give up Ashcraft. I don't want to give up. They got great pitching.
Okay.
If you're going to get somebody,
right.
go get somebody from Atlanta that can hit 40 home runs.
All
You
right.
can't just go get somebody that hit 16 home runs.
Here's the thing, and I partly agree with you, and I partly disagree because you're still talking about minor leaguers. You don't know how they're going to be in
no,
the
not minor
majors.
leagues. No, I'm saying go get go get Ozuna. That's a guy who's going to hit 35 home runs. I don't want Paredes, who's going to hit 17 home runs or 18 home runs, and give up Chandler or Ashcraft.
Well, Paredes has 16 homers, 55 RBIs, and Arizona has what, 18 homers or something like that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, why wouldn't you go for one?
Because you don't want to give up those.
See, they
aren't
want
as good as the
they
two players are
want
giving
to
up.
fleece you. That's
Yes.
the problem. They want to fleece
Okay.
you.
How did the
he
Pirates
keeps forgetting about the fleece part?
How did the Pirates win some World Series in the past? Did they give up some
There
good
were no
players to
free
get Bill
agency then. You
Madlock?
can't go by that.
Yeah. Well, did they trade
Those
in those
were
days?
those days.
Give up
Come
minor
on, when they
leaguers?
had Van Slyke
Okay.
and Bonds and them, it's not the
so
same.
you're saying hold pat.
No, I'm not.
Stand still.
No.
Yeah,
You're getting a
but
great player.
tried
You're
to
going to
get-
trade. You're not going to
what
get
he's
some
saying.
bum.
There's so much riffraff out there.
Riffraff,
Why
that's
trade
the
one?
word.
In other words, Sawinski. I don't want to see Sawinski ever bat again.
Okay.
As long as I'm alive, I don't want to see
So why
him bat.
wouldn't you go for someone like Paredes?
Well, he's better than Sawinski.
Because you're giving
but
him
what
much
they,
better.
But what they
Your
want,
team ain't going to win anything.
what they
Okay.
want.
With him,
Well,
he's not going to
okay.
go to a championship. Let's put it that way.
You're hopeful for next year.
No,
All right.
hopeful. I guarantee it.
Last 31 years, 27 losing seasons.
Yeah.
Pass this prologue to me. We'll see what they do in the off season.
You don't give me credit anyway.
No.
3 times you've been wrong
I
completely.
want
and
them to
you
win.
forgot. But when
No.
you could win it, you say, "Well, we did it. We got it right." I am telling you that they are going to be good next year. They're already proven it. When you got the pitching staff they have,
I agree. I've praised their pitching staff. My major complaint is, and you don't agree with me. They need hitters at the bottom. They need another right-handed hitter. They're playing.
I didn't
a
say
lot
they
of
don't
guys.
need them, but I'm not going to.
When are they going to get them?
In off season? Why you get it now when you're going to get fleeced? You don't want to get
Okay.
fleeced right now. Everybody's fleecing everybody right now. Wait for the off season.
All right,
Free
we'll see.
agents will come out and say, "Okay, this is what we're going to get."
So just in other words, go with what they have right now. They may make it. They may not.
Yeah, this year
make
they ain't
it.
making it. Yeah, this
Okay.
year. See, that's the other thing about Pirate fans. They're living in a dream world thinking this year.
If they would make it,
yeah,
they'd have to
All
win
right.
2-1.
Wow, we'll see. We'll see next year. Get that Easter Bunny suit. Put it.
No,
put
you
it on.
didn't put it
Yeah.
on when I asked
Yeah.
you to, and you didn't.
All right. Now, during the recent Pirate surge where they went 10-4, how much credit do you give Derek Shelton for their surge?
I don't give him any credit.
Zero credit.
Terrible.
Zero
He,
credit.
he can look at a pitcher, and I can see 2 batters early. He's done. He lets him face 3 more guys, and then he takes them out.
What's his record, George? Over.
Oh, 40.
Oh, it's
So if you're going to give him, you got to give him the
bang. Yeah,
bang,
he has
bang,
to get
bang.
the blame.
If you're going to give him the credit, that's what I look at it.
Is he
All right.
back, by the way? He'll be
How
back.
much, Eddie? You coach baseball. How much? I think it's the least of all the sports. Does a coach have to do with? It's a player's game completely in baseball.
You know what you hope for. You need those pitchers. They're gifted. But when it comes to hitting, I've always said this before. Yeah, I can
hit.
either can hit or
Like
you
shooting.
can't.
See, that's what I thought
Yeah.
you'd say.
Like
Yep. I
You have a-
understand. I agree with
if a
that.
kid couldn't hit, You could try this, that.
Yeah, it's a confidence thing.
You imagine batting coach coming up to Clemente and saying, Roberto, you need.
Don't swing at that outside
pitch.
pitch.
They are worse. They don't want to listen to
They're
anybody.
not listening to anybody. No,
they've been told since they were 7 years old, you're the best hitter I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
all right, let's move on to NFL training camps. Open up. Official NFL
the Steelers
season
open up
underway. Yeah. In Latrobe, what to look for. Here's what I'm looking. Nothing like a quarterback competition until Wilson got hurt in the way. I had to read this a second time. He got hurt during the conditioning drill, blocking on pushing a blocking sled.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What?
we talked about yesterday. There has to be some new.
They have
This
a new
is the conditioning coach.
they have
some new thing that came
What
out.
would Tomlin say? Anyone but the quarterback.
Yeah.
So he
But
pulls
they
the
must
calf
have said
muscle.
this is how you get stronger. I have no idea, but there had to be some analytic nut out there who studied computers and if we hit this thing, I have no idea why.
It makes absolutely
Me neither.
no.
I don't understand.
No. You imagine doing that down in NA when Rankin was coaching. You had the quarterbacks over there pushing it. What do you think would have happened?
quarterback. It was a one-man thing.
One man thing.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I don't.
no, none of us do.
All right. The other thing that's interesting: who's going to emerge as a receiver? You say Wilson's having a good camp. Roman Wilson, Pickens. The big question mark. We've said it before. They have to have someone emerge as a solid number 2, or he's going to face a lot of double teams.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be jumping in the air like he does when he doesn't get the ball now.
I think the tight end's going to have to be used more. I think
They're saying they will.
I
Farmers.
think Farmers has to be
Well,
used
this
more.
guy has a history. This guy, when he called the plays at Tennessee, his tight ends were involved.
All right, when I had Ray Fittipaldo on a week ago, I proposed a trade. I love T.J. Watt. He's a Hall of Famer, but he's 0-5 in the playoffs. He's going to be, 30 years old. So I'm trading him to San Francisco for Brandon Ayuk to get that dynamic receiver. Well, him on one side, Pickens on the other. Fittipaldo said no. He wouldn't make the trade.
I'd say no, too.
What would you say,
Watt's
George?
a game
I
changer.
wouldn't be afraid to make that trade.
Watt's pretty good too, though.
Wow, he's great. He's a Hall of Famer. But now the NFL game, the way it is today, man, if you don't have that vertical passing attack, as much as I love the running game,
you're a running guy. You know that.
Yeah,
yes.
but as much as I love it, you still got to have that deep pass.
I'll take the pass.
Which killed
Boy, Ayuk wants out. I mean, he wants out.
Who does?
Ayuk
Wants out. Yeah, and so he's $19 million a year, and Watt's $28 million a year.
Get another guy.
Yeah. And 35-year-old Cam Hayward, he's $16 million this year. He counts $22 million against the cap. He wants another 2-year deal at the same amount of money. The Steelers have to let him play out. He's a free agent.
Let him go.
And let him go.
He's going to go.
I would think every Steeler fan has to agree with that. I mean, if you're a Steeler fan, you can't pay him that much money. If you're watching him play, he's not the same player he was.
And that defensive line's a big question.
There's going to be another McCutcheon and another Malkin. They keep him forever.
Yes.
Now you're stuck. There's a sentimental value. The fans like him. Now you got a problem.
You can't get sentimental.
They have to hope some of the younger players.
I do like their young defensive linemen, though. No, I really do.
I like the kid from Iowa.
I like the kid from Wisconsin. I like their young kids. I do.
And they have to hope they come through because last year they didn't have that depth.
Uh-huh.
All right, now AP preseason coaching ranking poll. Number 1, of course, is ranked Andy Reid. 3 Super Bowls the last 5 years. He's looking for an NFL record 3 straight. Number 2, John Harbaugh, Baltimore. He's 3-6 in the playoffs. Number 3, Kyle Shanahan, San Francisco, 0-2 in Super Bowls. And he's still rated. A lot of people are picking the 49ers to be in the Super Bowl again. Number 4 is Mike Tomlin. Never losing season, 8-10 in the playoffs, though, 5 straight playoff losses. Number 5, Sean McVay of the Rams, 1-1 in Super Bowl. I found something out. And he's had 10-plus win seasons in 5 of the last 7 years.
So has McKay had?
Yeah, McKay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Aaron Donald walked away, and they still think they're going to be good.
They're going to be good. Yes.
What do you think?
They're high-powered offense.
They got a solid running
the
back.
rookie and the other kid.
Running
back.
And Williams running back. No, they're really good
Very
offensive.
good.
Okay.
Hey, now let's look around the NFL quarterbacks. We talk about Wilson and Pickett, which I think is going to be interesting. They have to find a way to use Pickett. But how about Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, coming off an injury? Kirk Cousins, Atlanta, coming off an injury. And then Wilson for the Steelers. who will have the best year out of those three?
Wow, that's a good question. I say Rodgers. I'll say Rodgers just because they went out and got some players.
They have some. He has some weapons. Rodgers,
Very good offensive line.
And you know what else he has? A defense.
Yes.
As lousy as they were last year, quarterback wise, they were in games because they're offense.
And I think Atlanta's going to be very good.
They're going to be good. They will be good.
And let's go to finally high school football. This is our legal page that we've never, in years before, this is the 19th year of the show, we've hardly ever talked.
Page, yes.
Now it's the legal page. High school football, finally, an appellate judge has ruled in favor of Aliquippa. Patricia McCullough has ruled against the PIAA and bumping Aliquippa up to 5A. They will stay 4A for this year and next year. I was kind of interested to see them going to 5A. You know, the 5A schools are saying, thank God, thank God. Here's what's striking. They are 270 boys fewer than any other 5A school.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't right.
There's a safety factor there.
It wasn't right.
There's a safety factor.
They have 90 in a class. They have 12 grades. They have 1,100 students.
So there's a safety factor.
It was just not the right thing to do. And somebody finally decided the right thing to do.
So,
they, my gosh, they moved them up. They keep moving them up so much.
But they keep winning.
They
keep winning.
Yeah, but do it to Southern Columbia.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it to Aliquippa, do it to Southern Columbia.
Yeah, don't make stuff up. They don't have any transfer.
NCAA lawsuit. Thousands of college athletes will receive compensation from a few dollars to a tidy sums of $1 million or more from the $2.78 billion antitrust settlement, an agreement, I should say, by the NCAA and the 5 power conferences, which are down to 4. And
you call that, Eddie?
Yeah.
Remember you said it'd be 3. You thought it'd be down to 3. You thought, yes.
And how about this one? Pro basketball. Warner Brothers Discovery is suing the NBA over their new media rights deal that eliminates the league's longtime TV partner, Turner Sports.
Let's bring in our financial instructor. This is the spot. That's where we're at.
It's just the nature
of
things.
How they pay the guys. It's everything.
Because
they can't pay. Tatum just signed for $330 million.
Yes, and
how are they going to pay him if they're not on TV?
Right. What's interesting,
you're reading.
That's the pros, but I'm talking about college.
Oh,
yeah. I watched 4 media days.
It's gone.
And the college coaches didn't talk about their team. They talked about how they're going to pay their players.
Yeah,
right. That's how they spent their whole conversation.
It is.
Right. Think about that.
Yeah.
A couple issues. We won't get to all of them. Oversaturation of sports. An article written by Mark Madden, the Trib, and the absurdity of money in sports by Gene Collier. The oversaturation. Last Saturday, July 27th, on TV, there were 64 sporting events
every day.
You can't watch everything.
George, tell them about
and more to come.
This Thursday about football. Tell it the stat on that one, George.
This Thursday, there's a football game. There's one every Thursday till January.
Yeah,
that's
not a football night.
Right, college football expansion. The seasons are getting longer and longer. The NFL is going to go to 20 games.
Yes.
And I don't like it. And we're sports guys.
Yeah, it's way too. You can't watch everything every night. No. It's impossible.
No.
That's it for us. We'll see you next week.
What you doing?
I'm gonna fix that toilet.
A sledgehammer.
Hey, you never know.
Maybe we should call a plumber.
No, I got this.
At Armstrong Comfort Solutions, our professional plumbers and service techs are standing by to help with all your plumbing and HVAC needs.
Everything okay down there?
Maybe I should call Armstrong Comfort Solutions.
Armstrong Comfort Solutions, where comfort is our middle name.
Zoom from Armstrong presents Home Pass Heroes. Jim wants to know where his kids are at all times.
What can I say? I'm a protective dad.
The Home Pass app, free with Zoom's enhanced Wi-Fi, lets him set primary devices for everybody in the household or frequent guests. Now he gets an alert when his kids leave or his mother-in-law arrives. Be the hero of your network with Zoom's enhanced Wi-Fi and the free Home Pass app. Available on the App Store and Google Play.